Last night, we met Tom Clay, a veteran sailor whose wartime photos were stolen along with his car. Well, tonight, he's got some rather better news.
Also tonight, a teenage boy drowns trying to save a friend in a fishing lake. Frantic attempts to save him fail.
I had some goggles on swimming and trying to look for him, and I couldn't find him because it was too dirty at the bottom.
Should different faiths have their own schools? A report says Muslim children are being failed by the state system.
And cashing in on the boom in bottled water. Why one company is tapping into a new market.
Thanks for choosing Central News at 6. This is Bob Warman and Noella Bailey with the Midlands top stories.
And a joke or two as well. Have you heard the one about the cabbies who are taking lessons in cracking gags?
What's brown and sticky?
I don't know, love.
A stick?
Well, last night, Navy veteran Tom Clay came into the Central News studio with a tale that touched us all. He was forced to miss Sunday's D-Day celebrations after his car was stolen.
And along with his car, precious wartime photos were also taken. Well, today, just one day after Tom's TV appeal, he got the news he'd been praying for. His photos had been found and were waiting for him to collect.
Yeah. Naval veteran Tom Clay back with his treasured photos thanks to Central News. Yeah. So the great thing is, Tom, you've got your photos back. That's the main thing.
And I'm very, very pleased about that, Mr. Warman. And I'm so obliged to your company for doing that for me. The publicity that they've given me is worthy of a Queen's crown.
Oh, I wouldn't say that, but at least we could do for you.
I'm so pleased. I'm over the moon, I am.
He couldn't wait to attend the D-Day parade at the National Memorial Arboretum at Orowus on Sunday. The day before, he packed some of his treasured wartime photographs in the glove compartment. That afternoon, the car was stolen from his drive at Norton Keynes in Staffordshire. Later that day, the photographs turned up here in a quiet cul-de-sac in Bloxwich. They were handed in to the ladies who run this care home, who put a poster in the window. It wasn't until they saw Tom's story that they realised they were his.
I was off duty yesterday and happened to be watching Central News at lunchtime and saw the story, and I think maybe the name rang a bell. It was just something about it that made me notice. So I came on duty this morning and looked at the photos, and one said Tom on the back and another one said Clay. So I thought it's got to be.
Oh, what a relief since Saturday, when I was feeling like committing suicide. When the car gone, couldn't get to the reunion, and now it's all turning back. I've got my photos. I can replace the car. I can't replace them.
Tom Clay. The state education system is failing Muslim children, according to a new report. It calls for more Muslim schools to address the problem, reopening a controversial debate. Darren Little has been to one state-funded Muslim school to see how it works.
This is Al Furqan Primary School in Small Heath, Birmingham. It looks like any other school until you notice the specially built prayer room next door to the classrooms. It's one of two state-funded Muslim schools in Birmingham. Another is on its way.
Finished A and B, have you checked your work?
The children follow the national curriculum, but just as in Catholic or Church of England schools, there's a special emphasis on the Muslim faith, and the parents are very happy with it.
We're part of the community, and it is just a matter of choice as far as the members of the Muslim community are concerned. The choice which exists for other members of the community, it's there for Muslims now in Birmingham also.
In a school where the ethos of the school puts faith at its core, it means that it's not taking any extra time, and my child will learn the subject and skills that I wanted to learn without having to spend several hours in the evening going to a mosque school. So that's the reason I sent my child to a faith school.
A new report has said there should be more schools like this because traditional ones are failing Muslim children, but there are fears that it could lead to a separation of the Muslim community from everyone else. Even a prominent community leader has told Central News he's against Muslim schools.
We need to put faith in state schools, not take faith out of state schools, and I think we need to encourage more faith kids to be in state schools, to mix, to educate. They're working together in the future, they need to cope in universities, they need to get on together, they need to understand each other.
Birmingham's education chief, though, says it's just about giving parents more choice.
What we want to look at is the range of schools which contribute to a successful, cohesive, supportive city, and we believe we've got that in Birmingham.
Alpha Khan's teaching standards have been praised by government inspectors, and unless there's a big change, there are likely to be more schools like this in the state sector. Darren Little, Central News.
So what do you think? Should more Islamic schools and other single-faith schools get government money? Well, why not text us by tapping in the word Central, followed by a space, and then your comment, and send it to 888. Please remember to add your name and where you're calling from. Or you can contact us by email on centralnews@itv.com. We'll have some of your comments at the end of the programme.
A teenage boy has drowned while playing with friends at a fishing pool. It's thought 16-year-old Jason Mansell got into difficulty trying to rescue a friend at Rocket Pool in Bilston, near Wolverhampton.
His death has started a safety review at the pool, from where our reporter Eric McInnes joins us live. Eric, how did all this happen?
Well, last night, Bob, a teenage boy came down here for a bit of peace and quiet. It was a lovely evening, rather like it is now. But within a short time, the emergency services were out there frantically trying to find him under the water, while his mother stood on the shore, hoping against hope that he would be rescued alive.
Jason Mansell was 16, a quiet lad who was in the middle of his GCSE exams. He'd come down to Rocket Pool to fish, but when one of his mates got into trouble trying to wade back to shore from this island, he jumped in to help. His heroism cost him his life. His family are distraught, but proud of his selfless sacrifice. A local fisherman heard shouts for help and saw the two boys struggling in the water. He did his best to save them, but Jason had slipped under the water.
I found the ambulance, and the police was already driving past, so I flagged them down as well. And then when I got my canoe.
But it was too late.
Yeah, he'd already disappeared.
A police helicopter finally located Jason's body under the water. Local people say there used to be lifebuoys on the shore, but vandals destroyed them years ago. The pool has always been a popular fishing and swimming spot, even if the signs, which are hard to see, forbid people from bathing. Wolverhampton City Council has ordered an urgent safety review.
Today I've launched an internal investigation to have a look again at whether we can find ways of minimising the risk that open water inevitably provides in these kinds of circumstances.
We mustn't forget tonight that another teenage boy is in intensive care fighting for his life, and the people here are hoping that he makes it, and if he does, well, it'll be due in part to the fact that his friend gave up his life in order to save him.
Eric, thank you for that report.
A remand prisoner who went on the run after knocking a security guard unconscious has been recaptured. Timothy Smith leapt from a first-floor window at Nuneaton Police Station on Monday. The 23-year-old from Wolverhampton, who's facing child cruelty and burglary charges, was arrested at an address in Birmingham this afternoon. A reward of £50,000 has been offered for information about an armed robbery in which a Securicor guard was shot in the leg. It happened as he delivered money to a shop in Mowbray Avenue in Berkeley Green in Birmingham last Friday. The gang escaped with cash in a silver saloon car. Forensic scientists have been holding a one-day strike over pay. Union members at the Forensic Science Service in Solihull and Birmingham joined more than 1,000 colleagues from laboratories throughout the country. They're protesting about a pay rise of 1.1%.
It's strength of feeling among members that they've been offered a derogatory pay offer on top of the fact of being threatened of being privatised. We will be covering emergency scenes and work that is classed as an emergency, and people that have got a court appearance today will be attending court as normal.
You're watching the midweek edition of Central News at 6. First with the people and places making headlines in the Midlands today. Still ahead tonight, from 4 stone to fighting fit. The woman who battled anorexia and won. And why, if you live in Staffordshire, you could be paying 155 times more for your drinking water.
Well, tomorrow, voters will be going to the polls to elect local councillors and Euro MPs. That's if they can be bothered. In a moment, political editor Peter Hayes sums up the party differences. But first, Steve Keeling's been out to get an impression of the public's mood.
Will we take a left turn? Will we move to the right? Or will we go straight ahead? Will it be red, orange or green? Or will apathy get the better of us once again? While everyone seems to be after our votes, the truth is only a third of us will bother. Or is it? Because people here in the Moseley area of Birmingham have told us a very different story.
I will be voting, definitely. 7 o'clock in the morning before I get to work.
I haven't a clue about politics and I don't bother. Not voting is just not being there, isn't it?
I've voted by post. Yeah. It's done. Well, if you don't vote, you've got no say in anything, have you?
If Moseley voters are typical, we can expect a high turnout. But when it comes to politics, who really knows which way the wind blows? Steve Keeling, Central News.
Well, live now to Westminster and our political editor, Peter Hayes. Peter, what sort of election is this likely to be, do you think?
Evening, Bob. A schizophrenic one, I reckon, because some people will cast a protest vote for one of the smaller parties, I think, in the European elections, but then stick to the main parties for the council elections. But of course, most voters, as always in mid-term elections, will simply stay at home.
And it looks like all the politicians have been targeting the West Midlands.
Yeah, they have, and that's because it's seen as a launch pad for the general election. After all, Bob, we've got Birmingham, the biggest local authority in the country, and the region is riddled with marginal seats. The interesting sideline, though, has been the battle for the Muslim vote. Now, the Lib Dems are hoping to clean up because they, of course, oppose the war with Iraq, and certainly Labour appear to be worried because they've sent this letter in the name of Tony Blair to various Muslim voters in our area, urging them not to vote Lib Dem. Now, some Muslims have protested that this is offensive and ill-timed.
So, given all that, what's the mood of the political parties on this election eve?
Well, Labour are nervous, I have to say. They could well lose out almost everywhere, including control of Wolverhampton and Coventry. As for and on a bad night, of course, they might even end up in third place on Birmingham City Council. The Tories, well, they reckon they're going to paint the West Midlands blue. I don't know about that, but they may also win control of Dudley and Walsall. But in the European elections, you know, I think they may well get affected by the vote from UKIP, the United Kingdom Independence Party, who claim to be picking up votes all over the place. The smaller parties may pick up a few, such as the BNP and the Justice Party. The Greens may struggle. But overall, Bob, I think it's been a lacklustre campaign. And if the voters have been turned off, the politicians have only themselves to blame.
Well, we'll see. Peter, thank you.
Experts estimate that there are at least 5,000 people in the West Midlands who suffer from eating disorders, the majority young girls in their teens. For tonight's Real Life, Tom Parminter met one young woman who'd rebuilt her life after weighing just 4 stone.
Choosing food on a menu is usually a pleasure, but Jackie Law still finds it hard.
It's a lot easier than it was. It's obviously still provokes quite a bit of anxiety for me. I still have my fear foods, mainly fattening foods, I suppose, like chips, cakes, chocolate and pasta, things like that.
What would you like to order?
Can I have the traditional grilled Dover sole, please?
Jackie has been through a decade of fighting anorexia, a battle she came close to losing.
It was at its worst about 5-6 years ago when I was in my local hospital, and my weight had gone down to 4 stone. I wasn't eating hardly anything at all. They put me on a tube feed. It's horrible to think that I'd got it down to such an awful level.
Those awful levels were replicated in the sad stories of Michaela and Samantha Kendall. The twins from Birmingham both lost their battles with anorexia in the 90s. These were the images that brought eating disorders into the public eye.
How much do you think anorexia has cost you throughout your life?
I've missed all my GCSEs. My dancing was put on hold when I was training to be a dancer. It definitely aggravated it, I think. It wasn't the main cause. There was always a big emphasis on shape and the way you look.
After years of treatment, Jackie from Worcester is back to just a stone underweight. She works at the Queen Elizabeth Psychiatric Hospital in Birmingham, one of the many places where she received help.
Could I have the key to the boardroom, please?
Now she talks and listens to the patients battling against the same problems that she faced.
Eating disorders are really more to do with emotional problems rather than eating as such. So treatment is about looking at the factors, the psychological factors that have got tangled up, and trying to untangle those threads and to try to understand how a patient with an eating disorder has come to develop these problems, so that you can deal with those underlying difficulties in better ways and be able to get on with life and have a satisfying life and to leave the eating disorder behind.
I've been stable now for 4 years since I was discharged from hospital, and I've got to a stage in my life where I am in full control of it, and I'm very confident that it won't slip back.
Jackie, there's bound to be people watching our programme tonight who themselves feel in a similar situation, or they know someone in a similar situation. What would you say to them?
I would say for them to seek help and support of somebody they can trust. It's a matter of a life and death situation, really. They need to get it before it gets any worse. Unfortunately with me, I let it deteriorate to when I was nearly on death's door, and then it's so much harder to get back up to where you need to be.
And if you or someone you know is affected by the issues in Tom's report, you can get help online from the Eating Disorders Association. Now their address is www.edauk.com.
We're still on the lookout for your most fantastic day out. Details in a moment. These kids have certainly found theirs. Plenty more smiles still ahead.
And what's this? Taxi drivers learning the art of whist and repartee?
Yes, coming up later I'll be finding out why comedians have been giving taxi drivers tips on how to keep us all nicely tickled in the back of the cab. Now, I'm not saying my mother-in-law's ugly.
Now here's a case of if you can't beat them, well, join them. A company that supplies tap water to thousands of Midlands homes is hoping to cash in on the booming sales of bottled water. Andy Comber reports.
Water companies used to have a mantra: don't bother buying bottled water because tap water is safer and just as good. But South Staffordshire Water has given up on all that. This is its new mineral water bottling plant near Lichfield in Staffordshire. So why the move from tap to screw cap?
Well, consider this. When you think it can cost as little as half a penny to produce a bottle of water, but then we can be charged more than the price of petrol to drink it, and you can see why South Water want to grab a share of the market.
And what a market. Last year's sales of bottled water reached £1.2 billion. That figure is expected to double in the next 6 years.
I think the marketplace is growing, and I think we're moving more to the European sort of state of play where people want the natural option and not go for sort of your fizzy drink type drinks.
South Staff's Water has spent £5 million on its new business. The water comes from boreholes just yards from the bottling plant. It's so pure it needs no treatment. The question is, can anyone tell it from tap water? Which one do you prefer?
That one tastes cleaner.
That's the tap water.
It's tap water. Mineral water.
You got it completely wrong. You prefer that one? You're the first person who's chosen the mineral water. Gut feeling, which one's the mineral water?
A, I think.
You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. Well, most could tell the difference, but as many liked the tap water as the mineral, which is interesting, because at 25 pence a litre, South Staff's mineral water is 155 times more expensive than its tap water. Andy Comber, Central News.
Yeah, takes your choice. You're watching Central News at 6, where we're just a few minutes away from the latest national and international stories.
Coming up on the ITV Evening News, an exclusive interview with the immigration officer who tracked down the man accused of raping and murdering Caroline Dickinson.
And he can't stop winning. Is this man the great hope for British tennis? Find out at 6:30.
And more now on our quest to find the Midlands' most fantastic day out.
Yes, we've got a live programme here on ITV1 tomorrow in which you can have your say. Lisa Dowd has the details.
We're trying to find out the best family, historic and thrilling days out. We've had lots of suggestions from you, and now our judges have selected 3 finalists in each category. Tomorrow you decide the winners, and by taking part in the vote you could be a winner yourself. We're giving away 3 packages of great days out for you and your family. They include a day of thrills and spills at Drayton Manor Park, a trip back to medieval days at Warwick Castle, a visit to see the living history of Ironbridge Gorge, a chance to go up, up and away at the Northampton Balloon Festival, to splash about in Staffordshire's Water World, or spend a day in Coventry Transport Museum. So join us for Fantastic Day tomorrow at 7:30 here on ITV1.
And speaking of a fantastic day, nearly 2,000 disabled and disadvantaged children came from all over the Midlands to Drayton Manor Park in Staffordshire.
Yep, they spent the day having fun, free of charge, thanks to the generosity of the park itself and local Rotary clubs. Here's a musical record of the day.
What a beautiful day.
Coming here has been a real special thing to us.
It's been brilliant.
We see this is really worth it.
When the time it went by, we felt straight that that's impossible, but you and I would never look back. And wasn't it incredible? So beautiful and above all, just to see the views get lifted.
That's brilliant! I like this, Mum.
What a beautiful day.
What kind of day are we having, kids? Great day.
Nothing is impossible in my all-powerful mind.
A beautiful day indeed. Well, we've got sport now, and once again our man has managed to escape the stuffy studio for an afternoon at the tennis. Here with the latest from the DFS Classic at Edgbaston's Priory Club is Dennis Coath.
Central sport from the DFS Classic here at the Edgbaston Priory. This really is the big women's tennis event leading up to Wimbledon. Now the defending champion Magdalena Malieva of Bulgaria, well, she had a scare today, taken to 3 sets by the #1 German player Anka Barner. Malieva was 6-3 and 3-love down before making a bold comeback against Anka Barner. She went on to take the second set 6-4 and the third 6-3. Malieva admitted afterwards that she thought she was going out of the tournament. Well, British #1 Anne Kiotovong did, beaten in 3 tough sets by Spain's Maria Sanchez Lorenzo. So Magdalena Malieva wants to triumph again in Birmingham, but after her second round win, she'll find some very tough opposition lies ahead. Well, with us now, we've got the star of the day, Shanae Perry, who knocked out #5 seed Jelena Dokic. Now, Shanae is number 110 in the world. Dokic is a real fighter, so how did you beat her?
Well, I thought I played counter-punching really well today. I thought I served fairly well, and I just stayed with it pretty much today.
We don't know a lot about you. Tell me where you're from and a little bit about yourself.
I'm from Florida, Coral Springs, Florida. I'm 19 years old. Turn 20 next year, and next month. And
yeah. Well, you've already caused 1 upset in this tournament. Could you go on and win it?
I mean, that would be a great feeling, but just take 1 match at a time, see how it goes from there.
And there's Wimbledon after that.
Yeah, take 1 match at a time there too.
Congratulations, Shanae. We're going to turn our attention now to football because Derby County have signed an international star and a Villa favourite has signed on for another 4 years. Here's Chris Walker-Smith.
Danish international Morten Bisgaard turned down Champions League football to join Derby County. He completed his free transfer from Danish champions FC Copenhagen this morning, opting for English First Division football instead of games against the likes of Porto, Arsenal and AC Milan.
It has always been a dream of mine to come to England, and now I finally got the opportunity, and I'm sure it is the right decision for me, although I'm giving up a possible Champions League for my team in Copenhagen.
Aston Villa's Gareth Barry also put pen to paper today, signing a new 4-year deal, keeping him at Villa Park until 2008 and ending speculation about his future. His boss, David O'Leary, meanwhile, is hoping to bring in former French under-21 international Mathieu Berson from Nantes.
So it's going to be very exciting the next few days at Edgbaston Priory. Don't know who's going to win this tournament, but for Wimbledon, I'm going for Jennifer Capriati and, of course, Tim Henman.
Your views now on whether more Islamic schools and other single-faith schools should get government money. Well, most of you who text and emailed in are against the idea.
Paul Jarvis from Stoke-on-Trent says this country is based on a Roman Catholic and Church of England history. He asks how long it'll be before every religion has their own schools.
Dee Morris from Solihull thinks people should have learnt from Northern Ireland that separation of faiths leads to conflict.
But Dr. Grays from Stafford emailed us to say he was in support of state-funded Islamic schools. Thanks to all of you who sent your comments in.
Now, next time you're desperate for a titter, take a taxi. A team of cabbies has been trained in the art of wit and repartee by a professional comedian.
It's all part of a new drive to make stressful journeys a little more smiley. Jonathan Ray has the story.
It would be grotesquely unfair, wouldn't it, if the only tip you ever gave a taxi driver was to keep his opinions to himself and find some better jokes. Come on, you muffin!
What's brown and sticky?
I don't know, love.
A stick.
Dave Ketteridge is an eager student. Along with 4 colleagues, he's volunteered to be trained by the Phoenix Nights actress and comedienne Barbara Nice. And nobody handles hecklers like Barbara. Have they taken a lot of winkling, or are they willing students?
I think everybody fancies themselves a comedian. You do, for example, don't you? So I think that everybody does a little bit. And I think it gives them a chance, you know. Maybe from this they'll go on to an open spot at Jongleurs.
Barbara is also giving tips on body language and safe rear-view mirror eye contact. Why did the Dudley Mouse leave home? Because his father was a dirty rat.
Most of us are quite happy. I like doing the job. It's an enjoyable job.
And if they don't respond, so you just leave them alone, that's it.
There's a woman from Solihull goes to the doctors. She says, oh, I've been having terrible pains. He said, oh, I think you've got acute angina. She says, oh, thank you, I've got very shapely legs and a curvaceous bust as well.
I think you're going to be great.
Yeah. Dave says the training certainly puts the Brummie cabbies in the best of moods, and they're hoping that even the most uptight, stressed, poker-faced businessman will be cackling. Jonathan Ray, Central News.
I wouldn't say Jonathan was a comedian, would you?
He's a natural comedian. He's a natural comedian. Now, if you really want some laughs, well, let's have Charlie with tomorrow's weather. Here she comes.
Central weather with BMIBaby.com.
Hi there, well, we've lost the humidity, things much more comfortable out there at the moment, but the comfort does come with a slight turn to more unsettled weather, certainly for the next few hours. Since 10 this morning, a band of showery rain's been pushing up from the southwest. That's going to be with us through the next few hours, so plenty of cloud around through tonight. And outbreaks of patchy but showery rain just dotted about the region by the end of the night, and that back end of that system will still be with us tomorrow morning, so a bit of a grey, dull start, but it will improve through the afternoon, and by tomorrow afternoon we'll be into another pattern that's going to be with us for several days, and that is sunny spells, so much of the day is going to be good, but scattered showers developing through the course of the afternoon, those just about anywhere in the region really, and with temperatures at comfortable levels now, highs of 22 tomorrow in that sunshine, it will still feel very pretty. And that pattern, to say, is going to be with us through Friday and a bit of Saturday, although Saturday will improve because pressure will be rising, so the showers easing out through Saturday, turning into a fantastic day. And then high pressure with us through Sunday and Monday, bringing back the fantastic sunshine, but this time with more comfortable temperatures. So a few showers before we get there, but summer hasn't gone away just yet. Actually, Weather Your Pollen is next.
The Central 10-day weather line. Call 09069 19 14 19. Central weather with BMIBaby.com, the airline with tiny fares.
The Pollen Count, sponsored by Benadryl.
Well, we're at the peak of the grouse pollen season now, so levels are going to be high, really, whatever the weather, but veering towards very high in the drier moments and down to ordinary high in the showers. That's it then. You're up to date with your weather and your pollen. Bye-bye.
Very high or ordinary high. Take your choice there. That's it from Central News at 6. Lou's back in 20 minutes with a recap of our top stories.
And Bob's back in the seat later this evening with the late news at 10:30. Now, though, at 6:30, it's time for the national and international news with Mark Austin and Katie Derham. Good night.
Good night.